Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
That happened right around noon Eastern. Okay? Just before that, Trump left.
I will always fight for you. I will be watching. I will be listening. And I will tell you that the future of this country has never been better. I wish the new administration great luck and great success. A goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Right. So right before that, and then you had Biden, and then you had this.
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump, please, I hope you have a plan. God, please save us. Save us from the devil, please. Y'all, I'm about to have a panic attack.
I think you're there.
This is our country. This is awful. God, please save us. Please. Please save us.
That's insane. Honey, you have a problem. I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, I don't want to laugh at her. It's hard not to when you're thinking it's like that. First thing I'm like, that can't be real. That can't be real. It was. All over the interwebs. It is the disbelief of what took place. And the realization that he lied. He lied to us. There was no plan. Wasn't any of that. And this isn't about whether it was a plan or Trump. You know what? He's gone. All right. It's over. It's done. He's moved on. I wish him the best. Biden, you're up next. Let's see what you've got. I mean, we talk about the healing that, the unity Biden speaks of. The reality is it's tough to reach some people. It is. It's tough to reach some people. Some people, like that right there, I mean, you listen to her. It sounds like she's, at first, again, I thought she was acting. I'm like, that can't be real, but it is. And that's what happens when you get in so deep in some things. And I blame a lot of that on the politics of it. And then on top of that, social media. And the reason's pretty simple. Our show, we're pretty transparent, right? I will give you my opinions on issues, but I'm not going to give you a blanket, I choose this side or that side on everything. I'm kind of an a la carte guy. Ask me about this. What do you think about taxes? Less taxes, better spending. Right? These are things that we talk about all the time. Taxing people and overtaxing people is ridiculous. And I'll give you my entire breakdown. Gay marriage. Or marriage equality. First of all, government, you shouldn't be in marriage. Never thought that, but we go back to taxes again. Marry whoever you want, as many as you want. You do you. I give you my opinions. And my opinion is that we got a lot of people in this country who are struggling. Who are, for whatever reason, they've lost the plot. They have. And you've had politicians on both sides of the aisles for years get to the point where they've said to themselves, you know what's easier than me trying to out-debate, out-issue, out-idea my opponent? I'm just going to make my opponent and their actions evil, and I'll make that person a villain. And the only one who can save them is me. The only one who can save them is me and my party. We saw it over the summer. That lady who freaked out with Amy Coney Barrett being pointed, and she was freaking out inside her car and losing her mind. Why? They feel like the next day there's a chastity belt going on. This lady just losing it here again. I thought it was a joke.
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump.
She is so terrified, as is everybody else, that somehow we've got to have a new flag, that, today we wake up and everything is different. No, it's not. It's Thursday. Nothing's changed. Not a thing's changed. Coronavirus, still here. Still here. Hadn't gone anywhere. Still here. People still fighting unemployment because their states are shut down. And they're looking around going, am I going to make it another week on what we have left in the bank and the bills that I have to pay? And what's next? Kids still not going to school, learning online, struggling. All of these things are still in front of us. Nothing's changed. Well, he signed a bunch of executive orders. As you know, and I will explain it to you, I'm going to break it down today so the panic's not there. We're going to look at some of these things, but here's the reality of those. Like everything else, they're all going to be challenged in court. And much like Obama did, that Trump undid, that Biden will now undo, everything is subject to change and going to court. And will all be challenged across the board because this is the world that we live in. And many of the things that he would like to do, he's not going to be able to do. But everybody jumps to that. And the amount of text messages, emails, things of that nature. Hey, Chad, when are they going to stack the court? They're not stacking the court. They could try. They could try. Well, what about getting rid of the Electoral College? All the things. When are they going to make Puerto Rico and D.C. a state? They just start. Everybody needs to take a deep breath. The left, you think magically today, the world's a better place? It's still the place it is. At the end of the day, you're in charge of you. More responsibility that you should take for you and your actions and vice versa. But I just feel bad because there's a lot of people out there that are coming to the realization that Donald Trump lied. That the people around him lied. That they perpetrated a continuous lie to them. That somehow this was going to be overturned. That somehow magically these things were going to be, he was playing 4D chess when nobody else was. They were still playing checkers. The Oath Keepers, they're already hammering him. QAnon, hammering him. The Proud Boys, they've stepped away. They're calling him flaccid and weak. Because the realization is he wasn't telling us the truth. And it's sad. It is. The heal the nation first, in some ways, is the fact that I think we need to bring the temperature down. And that's one thing I think Biden at times will do. Because he'll just bore us. It's hard to get mad at something you don't pay attention to. It is. And let's be real. His speech was good yesterday. And he went and did his things, and the media will fawn over him, and they'll do that stuff. And then you're going to have the people on the right side of the aisle try to tear him apart. But I think so much of what's taken place over the last 5 years, there's a certain exhaustion that I think people are just kind of over. On to something else. And we are. And we'll see what it looks like. But I think taking the temperature down is a must. But at the same time, you got to heal before you unite. And some of the people out there on both the right and the left who live in a world of fear because they are told that somehow the other person's going to do something so bad to you that you will cease to exist almost is you're not uniting that. You got to try to fix that first before that can happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. I thought yesterday was cool. You know, it's always fun to see. It is. At the end of the day, though, the real work begins. He's got a lot of stuff facing him, and many of the people that are working with him all kind of said the same thing. Look, we don't know what a lot of this is going to look like until we get inside and actually take a look. They've taken a look, and from what we're hearing, it ain't pretty. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Plus, the mythical Antifa struck. Yeah, they did. 3 places, by the way. We'll touch on that as well. Because as much as the right has their issues, Antifa is an issue as well. And by the way, it's an issue for the Democrats. They ain't like Biden. So that's an issue where that's even worse than a lot of other things. Their ideology is anarchy and insanity. How do you fix that? But there needs to be a come to Jesus moment, I think, especially for the Democrats and the media with some of this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Car Shield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. Guess what happens? They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. And somebody asked me yesterday, hey, Chad, you know, are they any good? Because I've heard some bad. I said, let me tell you something. Car Shield's been great to me. They've been, well, of course, I said I had them before they ever sponsored anything in my show. And by the way, my family and my friends, they've been fine. You have to tell them, hey, look, this is what I'm looking for. I want the electronics in my car to protect it. I want, like for one of my cars, I've got a warranty for the engine and the drivetrain, but it's nothing for the electronics. And I had an issue with the electronics. Guess what? I took it in. They sorted it out. It was great. Simple and easy. I paid that small deductible, and Car Shield took care of the rest. You have to say, hey, I'm looking for this. So whether your car's got 5,000, 150,000 miles on it, call them up and say, hey, I'm worried about this in my car. I would like to protect this. What do you have for me? Plans start as low as $99 a month. 800-665-2157. 800-665-2157. Use code Benson to save 10% or carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
The Labor Department said another 900,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. It's slightly below what economists were expecting, but still high, underscoring the challenge the new administration faces as it seeks to control the pandemic and restore economic prosperity. More than 5 million Americans are continuing to receive state jobless benefits.
Yeah, that's big. Biden has big things in front of him. He does. And he's bitten off. Whoever took this job is biting off a lot. And I think we're asking, I think so many people, their hopes are that somehow Biden is going to fix all that ails this country. And that's too much for any man. That's insane. It really is. He's got to first do what? Well, we need to get the vaccine out. Now, I don't know how many people I don't know how many people are going to take the vaccine. But there isn't any right now. What the states have. It looks like the cupboards are completely empty. The one thing Trump did was Operation Warp Speed to get a vaccine. And then he kind of just went, I need to win an election. And then he spent the last 60 plus days continuing to push some insanity that wasn't real. And let's just remember where we are for just a second. It was 1 year ago today.
Patient one is the time that When he arrived, our country and history changed.
1 year ago today, the first patient.
And then he became even more frightened about what was going to happen, as he had seen reports in China where there were many deaths. And so he was very fearful that things could go poorly for him as well.
So 1 year ago, this hit us. You go back a year, right? We're enjoying life. It's a new year. What's 2020 have in store for us? Wow, look at us go. And Kobe had just passed, and we're talking about that, and we're watching the playoffs in the NFL, getting ready for the Super Bowl. We're doing all these things, and we've got the likes of Dr. Fauci and many others. You got nothing to worry about, and we're seeing what's starting to take place in Europe. But it's don't worry, you got nothing to worry about, doing his thing. And then here we are. 1 year on, 400,000 dead. In some states, it's still exploding. In other states, it is slowing down. But then you have other people out there like Dr. Gottlieb saying, hey, you know what? Here's the reality. We got this new strand, and it's not as deadly, but it's easy to catch. Much easier than even this one. So what's next? Well, the first thing is we need to replenish the vaccines. We need to get them out to all the states. There needs to be a more coordinated way to do things, and government needs to figure out how to bring the private sector in to streamline so much of what they've been trying to do and breaking or making it nearly impossible to do. Some of the stuff I've gone on, because we've gone on and we've tried to do the website just to see what it's like, because we had so many listeners out here in Arizona say it's confusing. I'm like, if you're 7 years old and you have no computer skills, really whatsoever, you're never going to be able to figure it out. It's not going to happen. It's that confusing. So there needs to be better planning. You need to keep it simple, stupid, and most importantly, we need to get it out there as fast as possible. This is a big job. We'll see, because the spotlight's on Biden. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The flurry of executive actions is going to continue. You will likely see more directed squarely at this issue of the pandemic and how to tackle it. So you're going to see him sign additional executive actions to try and reopen schools safely to mitigate the spread of the virus. And then, of course, there is that massive nearly $2 trillion stimulus package that they are asking Congress to work on. It would provide $1,400 in direct payments to most Americans, $130 billion to reopen schools, $160 billion for vaccinations and testing.
Yeah. A lot of stuff, man. He was busy yesterday. It's a lot of money, $2 trillion. I don't know what it's going to look like. And so remember, there's two ways that they can do this. And one is trying to actually pass it, right? So they go and they try to pass it. We'll take some out here. We'll add some stuff there, whatever it is, and try to get it to a point where it's, it's tough. If you're a Republican, but you've spent a bunch now. I mean, you look at Trump. Take away the COVID, right? Because COVID is, we're spending money. There's no doubt. This is what we have to do. At the end of the day, this is what we have to do. Even before that, he's piling on cash after cash after cash. Republicans, stop worrying about the debt now. You guys have lost that argument based on actions. Based on the actions. Because you're unfamiliar with math. So here we go. Now, there's a lot of money here.
That nearly $2 trillion price tag is going to be hard for a lot of Republicans to swallow, and it will test Joe Biden's promise that he can work across the aisle.
And there's another way that he can do it. It's a budgetary kind of go around. And the way that works is it's as simple as hey, we're going to just vote on a price. Well, okay. So you vote on it. It's much easier to get through. So it could be $1.8 billion, 1.9 trillion. It could be whatever. So they vote on that. And the way that this budgetary thing works, though, it's empty. Essentially, you're voting on how much money you're going to spend, but it also limits things where you can spend, meaning for testing and a bunch of other stuff, chances of that, you can't spend on certain things. Then once you come up with a number, well, then where you can spend is where you throw the money at. So there's ways always around things, but it's not going to be perfect. And the Republicans are going to have to figure out. I was trying to explain to my little brother who's, he's 21. He's getting really engaged into the political thing. And he and I were talking early this morning on my way in. And, he was asking me, but Chad, look at all the things they want to do. I'm like, first of all, and I'm going to let everybody know this. You see AOC in the squad. That's not the Democratic Party. It isn't. They're loud because they're shiny. The right makes a bigger deal out of them than the left does, but the left likes them as well because it knows it pisses the right off. And what's that do? It gives conflict. Conflict sells. AOC, I'll continue to say this. She's playing a part. She's playing a part. I think she might look up and see if she has a chance of being a senator. A little bit more power and cachet there, obviously. Only 100 of you. But she enjoys the celebrity as much as she enjoys all the other, kind of pushing buttons. Rashida Tlaib, Ariana Presley, Ilhan Omar, probably a little bit more progressive and less part. But at the end of the day, most Democrats, the run-of-the-mill Democrats that make up the majority of the party, aren't like that. I talk to a lot of Democratic senators and congresspeople, and they can't. They want no part of what they're offering. It's a loud, squeaky wheel. Because they know their constituents aren't like that. So the whole thought process is that magically all this stuff is going to happen, and tomorrow we're going to be Venezuela and the former Soviet Union and all. It's just not going to happen. It's just part and parcel of what goes on, but they're not loved there. And Nancy Pelosi's not a fan. Chuck Schumer tolerates, but you hear them all the time talk about, hey, you know what? How about doing some real work rather than doing stuff on TikTok and stuff like that? But Trump also helped create them by battling with them all the time, because there was that monster again. To them, Trump was the monster. To Trump and the Republicans, they were the monster. That's what it was. The real work begins now is how do we work across this, get this stuff done. He's just undoing what Trump did. And he's not going to undo everything. He isn't. Because a lot of times that's what happens in politics. You get in there and you're like, oh, wow, you know what? Yeah, I know I said I was going to do that, but I'm looking at this and it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not. A lot of the stuff that he's not doing, like the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline, that thing's been in litigation for years. It was probably never going to get built. The battle was going to continue to go on, but it sounds great. Then you look at some of the other stuff that he's looking to do, like the Paris Climate Accords. They're going to rejoin immediately. We're going to touch on that a little bit later about, as we start to break that down. Is it good? Is it bad? Did we actually do better not being in it when it comes to the reduction of, carbon emissions and things of that nature? But he's got a lot of stuff that he's going to have to try to get done. The first thing is, how do we get ourselves back on our feet? He pledges we're going to have the kids back in school within 100 days, all those things. That's on him. But not everything's on him. Much like I said, Obama gave Trump a pretty damn good economy. Trump ramped it up. Was it as great as he said it was? No. Was it pretty damn stable? Yes. Did he leave him some good footing? He did. But he also left a mess. And we have to get out of this first. And this is where I look at the states and say, this is on you guys from here on out. How are you going to sort this out? The feds are going to do all they possibly can. And at the same time, it's now on you getting your people vaccinated, but also having a time frame of when we get back to doing what we used to do, which is live life normally. Because I think if you don't have a time frame, a real time frame, and it's open-ended, you watch what happens when things become open-ended. Starts to get into a point, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I think we need a real time frame. I think it's one of the things that's been missing, because I think what it does is it alerts people to, here is the deal. Starting tomorrow, schools are opening up. Teachers, if you don't want to be there, you're afraid to be there, you've had opportunities to get the vaccine, you've had opportunities to do everything. If you still feel like it's unsafe, guess what? Find a new job. Find a new job. And then go down across the board by telling everybody we're getting back to it. But you give ample time, but you have a time frame. Some of the other stuff, of course, immigration.
You're going to see on January 25th next week the Buy America agenda that Biden laid out in his campaign. Equity and inclusion efforts will be next week, as well as will climate, health care, immigration. As we know, they're sending a bill to the Hill trying to open up a pathway to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants here. That'll certainly be a big policy battle up on the Hill. And then in February is restoring America's place in the world and Joe Biden's vision for how America operates on the world stage.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. Immigration, he's not getting 11 million or 14 million or 18 million or 20. That's not going to happen. Everybody's like, it's good. I said, no, let me tell you. First of all, know this. Everything's subject to change and everything's subject to a lawsuit. You already know that. I already know that. So be prepared for a lot of those. It's, hey, I want 15 million. No. 10 million. Nope. Dreamers. How many? 3 million, 5 million, whatever. We'll give you 2. This is negotiation. What do we get? We'd like to keep some of these tax cuts. That's how it starts. The executive orders are going to be fought across courts for who knows how long. You still see it. Up until the day that Trump left yesterday, there was still, the night before, stuff in the courts from executive orders that he signed early on. That is how this is going to play out. A lot of this stuff, presidents, they're going to try to do as much as they possibly can. And in many cases, they will overstep with executive orders. And inside of the court system is where it'll play itself out. Is that constitutional? Do you as the president have the right to do this? Is this something within the boundaries of your position? COVID, though, it will be his number one act. Because as that goes, so goes our economy.
COVID being his first full day on the job, obviously it is the crisis immediately in front of us, but it is also going to be the proving ground, I think, for whether or not this is going to be a successful start to the Biden administration.
Trump had a good economy. Obama handed him a pretty decent economy, but Trump supercharged it for a while. And when COVID hit, he thought that would fix everything. And then eventually he found out that wasn't going to happen. And it was all about winning. And for the last several months, Trump's economy became COVID's economy. And it'll continue to be COVID's economy until we figure out how we get through this thing. Living with it, through it, and around it is one. And the other one is understanding that, yes, there's calculated risk. And the opportunities to stay at home, get vaccinated, take your chances. And that's where we'll be. But if we don't come out of this in any real timely manner, if this time next year we're still talking about this, yeah, people are going to be calling for, it's time for you to go. You couldn't get this job done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. So, I had a funny story to tell you guys about, like, just this hilarious argument that my uncle witnessed online. And I've been talking about it for days about, when people talk about the right, the left, this, that, and the other, and QAnon and all of these things. It is just, I keep explaining to people, it is not what you think. It's not what you think. It's not parties. It's not politics. It's not even race. It's individual humans in today's world. We're going to touch on that. Plus, Mega Millions, Powerball. What? Am I rich? Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
We have another life-changing jackpot for
you. The
you.
lone-winning ticket worth just over $730 million was purchased in Maryland, matching all 6 numbers. It was the 36th drawing in the jackpot run that started back on September 19th of last year, the longest jackpot run in Powerball history. But don't throw those tickets out. 12 tickets matched all 5 white balls for $1 million. And then there's Friday's Mega Millions drawing. That jackpot is up to $970 million, second highest in that game's history.
So one person got it. The big prize. $731 million. 2 ways to grab it. First, you get an annuity of $731 million. Paid in graduated payments over 29 years. So you'd get a lump sum, and then every year at the same time, you would get another lump sum, and it would be higher than the previous year. Most people do the lump sum payment. $546,800,000. So what do you get from that? The state tax in Maryland is, what is that, like 6%? So you get 6%? Not bad. Not going to kill you. So 41% of that $546 million is going to taxes. Not bad at all. It's good. I'm telling you guys, it's good money if you guys can get it. Not that we didn't try, because you know you tried, right? So you're going to walk away with $322,612,000, give or take a few here or there. Do a lot of money. You can do a lot of good with that. You can also do a lot of crazy stuff with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like now it's like, you want to own a tiger? You probably own a tiger. Everybody's like, I know you try to own a Komodo dragon. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. I would set up a private zoo. There are about 3 or 4 here in America that are privately owned, just like zoos, not like a zoo that you would think, where people do have Komodos, so private collections, where they're actually like, hey, this is my giant reptile room. That'd be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie to you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Still have a chance. $970 million, the mega ball tomorrow. And if that does not find a winner, it will flip over and it'll be well over $1 billion. That's some coin right there, kids. That's some coin. Yesterday, quiet for sure. When it comes to a lot of what we thought we were going to see, right? Because we were expecting, after what we saw on the 6th.
Yes, there were some protests. In Portland, Oregon, for example, a crowd got out of hand and police lobbed tear gas. In Seattle last night,
they've created a lot of damage and violence and graffiti.
But in the capital cities of Salem and Olympia, few, if any, protesters showed up at the state houses. The story was the same at state capitals across the country. Demonstrators vastly outnumbered by police and reporters. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Those rioters in Portland, Seattle, and Denver as well, that was Antifa. Chad, Antifa's not real. No, Antifa's not mythical. Antifa's a real thing. It's an ideology. The difference between somebody like the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys or these kind of organizations is there's some sort of membership. There's a uniformity to what it is that they're trying to do. With these, it's just an ideology. You can show up tonight, want to be part of Antifa, start screaming and yelling. No, that's the issue. So the ideology side of it. But make no bones about it, this needs to be covered and talked about. Portland has been continuously a hot mess long before any of this and continues to be so. Seattle, we saw what happened with them. And you know what? Dems and Republicans and local politicians need to start calling out this for what it is. And they need to get a handle on it. Might I remind you, 6 blocks of Seattle was essentially ceded to a bunch of pissed off, angry kids. Let's not forget that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Real first day for Biden today. Let's recap how it started. Yesterday morning, Donald Trump, not since Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, and the transfer of power have we had a president that says, no, I'm not going to go to the inauguration. So he gets on Marine One, he bounces, goes to, Andrews Joint Air Force Base and says this.
I will always fight for you. I will be watching, I will be listening, and I will tell you that the future of this country has never been better. I wish the new administration great luck and great success. Hey, goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
All right, so that's how that started. Even before noon Eastern, as he takes off and leaves, Joseph Biden does this.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden.
Can we all just for a second, though, point out the fact that I had no idea his middle name was Robinette. Just interesting.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
All right, so that happened. Then the meltdown from the QAnon people, from the diehard Trump supporters who aren't part of that but just live, breathe everything that Trump is, sees Trump as this person that was here to save the United States. Things like this.
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump. Please, I hope you have a plan. God, please save us. Save us from the devil, please. Y'all, I'm about to have a panic attack.
I think you passed that point.
This is our country. This is awful. God, please save us. Please. Please save us.
I thought it was a jokerism. I'm like, there's no way, right? No, that was real. And I don't even know what if she's not having a panic attack, I don't know what a panic attack looks like. And it was, you're like, wow. we're going to have to heal before we can even think about uniting. And a lot of people out there yesterday, especially over the last several days, have started to realize that there wasn't a master plan, that maybe having seen all these lawsuits fall by the wayside, and then the ones who are out there still continuing to fight slowly but surely withdraw as they got cease and desist, as they were told, hey, you got to show up in court and bring all this information you have, and they didn't have any of the information. The Sidney Powells of the world and the Lynn Woods and the Newsmax and the OANs who were all saying, okay, slowly but surely. Fox having to, having to write checks to, for all these conspiracy theories to things like the Seth Rich murder, all those just goes, people are starting to realize, oh, no. Maybe there were lies told. There was lies told. Huge lies. And this has nothing to do with whether or not there weren't issues when it came to the way that some of the states handled their elections that we need to absolutely put a stop to and make sure that the integrity of our elections going forward, so both sides, when their other side didn't win, doesn't feel like it was stolen. But it's going to be a while. And as I explained to a lot of people out there with was this truly about Trump, or was this about, was this about the election? Was it about Trump? Oh, it's the election. No, it ended up being about Trump. And Trump's lost. That's what this was. And for a lot of people, it was about them not being right. Yesterday, I was talking to my uncle, and I said, a thing we need to do when we start to heal, but also when we start addressing some of these problems as America, is we need to, people say, oh, we need to listen, we need to do this, that. No, you know what we need to do? We need to look inside and say to ourselves, can I take criticism? Maybe I can't take criticism. Can I take any form of criticism whatsoever in a way where it is about whatever the subject is without it being personal? Can I also give criticism without making it personal? And you're like, and the reason we got to talking about this is because I said, Paul, this is about people who are in a world now where it's more important to be right than rich. And I say that, I use that expression a lot. And what I mean by that is people who are rich, more often than not, yeah, they're right. The difference is, for some people, all that matters is being right. They live and die for that moment to be right. All the time. And so they put all their energy in there, and everything is personal. And we were talking about this because he goes, I got this new program they want me to try out. It's like a beta testing thing where you can essentially take your 1080p and your HD, and you can upgrade it to like 4K and do all the stuff to it. And he goes, Chad, about the third comment down, somebody said something about somebody else's comment. And then he goes, I watched it for like 3 hours, and they screamed and yelled at each other on the internet. And this was about, and it got to the point where they were calling each other names and their families and how stupid they were and the things they were going to do to them. And I said, yeah, because at the end of the day, for people, it's about their want to be right. We need to learn how to accept a victory in a gracious way, and at the same time, also realize that me being critical of you, or you being critical of me, you don't have to make things personal. For so many people who for the last several months, and then really the last 60 days, about the election being stolen, about Trump never leaving, about waiting for the moment, about all of these things, this is in so many ways, it's embarrassing. And then a lot of other people out there want to do the, I told you so. I got you. But it isn't just about politics. All you have to do, go to something as stupid as like go to Yahoo's trending and see who's like, did you see what so-and-so wore last night or what such and such did? It starts somewhere in there is tons of criticism and battles. There's a reason, like people, I have all these forums that I have, like groups that I've joined on online and from Facebook and all these stuff. And there's a reason I don't post a lot of stuff on any of these groups about my lizards, because all it is criticism and people being awful human beings. That's it. Hey, can I ask you guys a question about whatever substrate to use for a lizard? Within 5 minutes, you'll have 50 comments, and about the third or fourth comment down, somebody says something ridiculously awful that has nothing to do with anything about the question you ask, only to insult as if to say I'm superior. So when we look at the red and the blue, so much of it is a human thing. Everybody's want to always be right. I'm not always going to be right. I know that. I'm going to mess up a lot. I'm going to screw up and I'm going to be wrong at times. I readily admit that because I'm a human being. I don't know what else I could be. But to think that it's just a red and blue, it's not. It's not. It isn't. We no longer know how to take a joke or criticism, and we no longer have an understanding of how to go, hey, you know what? I disagree, but we could part as friends. And it's sad. So I think today, as we start to realize that, with healing the country and uniting it, first we got to start figuring out how we get around the fact that everybody always wants to be right, and not everybody's going to be right. And it's not a knock on you, or it's not a knock on me. And if you want to have an open debate and a conversation, it's a great thing. But too often than not, we're not interested in anything other than punishing, insulting, and trying to get across our I'm superior and more right than you'll ever be. So acknowledge that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Home title lock. People ask me now, because, been with me for a while, and they say, do people really get their house stolen? I said, yeah, it's not hard. I mean, it's easier to do and more profitable than stealing a car. And the reason is because all I have to do, or you have to do, is look up somebody else's, your neighbor, your whoever, and see that their title's out there. It's public record. Oh, there it is. Oh, I know they don't own any money in the house. So what happens? You forge signatures, the documents, everything. Make it look like the house has been sold to you. And then essentially it's yours. Then you got to fight it in court. But by the time you go to court, you're in so much debt because they've taken out loan after loan on your home. What do you have then? You may get evicted. You may have to file BK. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And now, like everything else, hey, why should we do that when I could just say, give me $10,000 or I'm going to start doing all these things? Yeah, it's just easier to do that probably. So now's the time to protect yourself. That's what you do at Home Title Lock. They're going to let you know. Right now, nobody would alert you that any of these things are happening. That's where Home Title Lock comes in, is that line of defense. And should somebody get through $250,000 in legal fees to help you fight whatever happens. Protect your home now. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Code radio is what you use. You can get 30 days free protection to help you through. Take a look at everything. You can even go on HomeTitleLock.com, register your address, see if you've been a victim. HomeTitleLock.com, code radio. HomeTitleLock.com, code radio. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? All right. Let's see what's trending. Bill Clinton, trending yesterday. Asked, was Bill sleeping at the inauguration? No, but apparently he was man-spreading with this mask spreading, because he had it under his nose, and apparently that's a man thing. Lady Gaga added a subtle change to the national anthem. And what was that? Because it just felt like that it was the Hunger Games. People are talking about that, of course. Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders. A lot of other stuff that has to do with Pence. He's going to go to Indiana. He just announced that. Nowhere else to go. I don't know who wants me. Head on over to Twitter. Portland and Seattle. Why? Because, once again, protests last night turned violent. Destruction of stores, destruction of property, things of that nature that took place. These are stuff that we need to talk about, and we all need to condemn it. And these cities that are run by extreme left-leaning Democrats who have allowed them to run free need to get a handle on this crap. Absolutely. Paris Climate Agreement. Back. We're back. I bet they're stoked. They're like, oh my God, all the money they're going to bring. That's what it is. Like getting, all the executive orders you're signing, getting, immediately going back in the World Health Organization and immediately doing, certain things like the Paris Climate Agreement. All this, it comes with the political cachet, but it also comes for a lot of us, we're a ton of funding for a lot of these things. So one thing that, when people say, how are the world leaders going to look at us again? They're stoked. For a lot of that Trump gave, that was crap, and a lot of the stuff that he did was over the top and it made no sense. There were things that he did that you look at and you say, you know what? He held some people's feet to the fire that needed to, because they didn't pay their fair shake. NATO was one of them. But also the fact that we are in so many of these organizations and we're the main funding of a lot of this. And usually we're the only ones who ever follow the damn rules. You think China swears and follows all the rules when it comes to things like, I don't know, the Paris Climate Accords? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking no. And Michael Flynn. Why? Because apparently his brother, also in the military, was resisting emergency pleas for the National Guard when the Capitol was attacked. They denied it for weeks that he was even a part of anything, and then they finally had to come out today and say, well, yeah, he was. More and more as this unfolds. How far will this go? Are they going to investigate this for months and months? And, and you've got potentially what could be the beginning of impeachment as early as tomorrow. We're going to touch on that. How does that loom over Biden in his first 100 days? How do they move between getting business done in the Senate and the impeachment? Because as we know, they're not always great at going and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to bifurcate. We're going to do some of this. We're going to do some of that. And they're not always great with this. The walking and chewing gum, so I can do both? Settle down. Maybe not. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Kamala Harris, who is the president of the Senate in her new role as the vice president, she could end up presiding over this trial. Also, Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont, he's one of the longest serving senators, and he was recently elected Senate pro tem, which is basically an acknowledgement that he is the senator with the most seniority. So his name has also been floated.
Yeah, impeachment. There's a good chance tomorrow it could arrive in the Senate, and then it's, well, we'll see. I mean, the reality is I'm not quite sure how they're going to play this. Is it quick? Is it short? Will they even get a chance to really have a run at impeaching him? Or is it one of those things where, hey, it's not going to happen. I think people just want to let it go.
You know, McConnell this week said that Trump himself was to blame for that violent attack that threatened the lives of lawmakers. And so McConnell definitely gave political cover, even legal cover to his colleagues and basically gave them the okay and a reason to convict. But a lot is still, we haven't even started this trial. So I think we'll have a lot of twists and turns with Republicans as we go from here.
And I think that's I think one of the things that may happen when it comes to the non-impeachment side of things for Republicans is some of them that I have talked to, while they're in a tough position where they're like, I don't want anybody silenced on social media or any of these places. Obviously, you can't advocate for violence. He goes, one of the ones I talked to, one of the people I talked to, who is a congressman, but he said to me the other day, he said, it's nice not having Trump there. I mean, how much chaos have, really since he's been off Twitter. I mean, you can't deny that it has been much quieter. And I hate that. I do, because I never want to. I don't want to talk. 99% of the crap that happened with him and his presidency was all based on so much chaos that he and the media created, and for lack of a better term, trumped up together in some ways with a wink, wink, nudge, nudge fight. It was ridiculous. It was. The media loved it. Now the media's got other things they're going to have to cover. Are they going to like it? Probably not. Why? It's not exciting. They'll have to try to find some other villain. But there's not a villain like Trump. But you've got to admit from a certain standpoint, yeah, it is quieter. There's no doubt about that. And I think a lot of Republicans are going, you know what? If he still had the power to do a lot of the things that he was doing, maybe the impeachment's coming, but the power is gone as far as reaching his people. Now, he could set up a website. He could do a lot of different things, potentially set up his own. But there's still one of those things. There's still one of this belief that kind of Twitter's it. Yeah, there was Parler, but Twitter is like it is the place where people go, fortunate or unfortunate. Then you flip over and you look at, Biden. You watched the media fawn over him yesterday and over the last several months. They didn't do that for Trump. Again, I'm no Trump apologist. And he had a lot of self-inflicted presidential wounds on himself and on the party itself. If not him, others around him. No doubt. But the media, we know who the establishment media is. Now, Fox is going to go do what Fox does, and they're going to come hard, and they're going to, they've already started doing, I think, on their TV shows, Hannity basically saying, he's frail, he's weak, that's going to happen. And in times like this, as you saw, especially over the last several months, the party in power, the media that supports them takes a dip. And the media that's against them, if you will, or on the other side, they get a rise. Well, it was different with Trump because a lot of these other stations held pretty strong, Fox and everything else. But over the last several months, that has flipped. Now you have MSNBC, CNN, all beating Fox. And some of that is because you've had the likes of OAN and Newsmax come in. So you're now splitting, across the board a lot of that viewership. But if you think that they're going to come hard at Biden, that they're not. You know that, and I know that.
Regarding the press, he never got a break. He's got to be a little steamed that nobody in the history of the American presidency has ever been beaten up as badly as Donald Trump has been over the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. I'd be frustrated if I were him. It's even more frustrating as you watch the press go right back to the Obama era and just talk about, what kind of shoes Joe Biden is wearing or what kind of ice cream he wants.
Dan Crenshaw. And he's right. You're going to get a lot of that. You get a lot of stuff like, just this.
Will he keep Donald Trump's Air Force One color scheme change?
This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that today, given the number of executive actions, orders, the inauguration, a few things happening. I will venture to get you an answer on that, and maybe we can talk about it in here tomorrow.
Is he going to keep the curtains? I mean, that's real. It's a real question. Now, we can pick and choose some of this stuff, but let's be honest, right? Like, me, I'm as transparent as it's going to come. I'm no apologist for Trump. Like I said, he caused a lot of his own problems. Media ate it up. But the Washington Post starts with Trump's first day. The march for impeachment begins today. And then yesterday, it was like a new day for America. So let's not pretend that it was equal go. And it was frustrating for him, I'm sure. It was. And Obama, they fawned over. But you know that. You do. You know where Fox stands. You know where MSNBC stands. You know where CNN stands. You know where One American News and Newsmax and we all know where they stand. And everybody goes to the place to watch whatever it is that they need to be affirmed. But from the establishment media that's been around for hundreds of years, no, they did not give him a fair shake. And when he did do something good, it was rarely lauded, and they figured out a way to try and figure out how they could spin it so it wasn't so much him, but it was other people. But you understand that. You get that. So don't expect that to change at all. For me, it's a simple thing. I'm going to give you the truth. Do the best that I possibly can to get all the data and facts and give you the truth and then give you my opinion on that. And then outside of that, I'm not going to pick and choose like it's this or it's that or he did this or I'm going to take a line here, I'm going to take a line there. And so many people I talk to is like, did you see what they said about Trump today? And I'm like, no. Well, they said this. I'm like, well, how do you know? Oh, I was watching something else, or I found it on Twitter because somebody else tweeted it. So you didn't see it, but somebody else did. And that's the fighting. We pick and choose the moments that we can start something. We don't ever listen to the entire conversation, because during an entire conversation, you'll start to figure out that you can start to take moments and say, if I cut this here and do this right, there's controversy. And that, to me, I don't do that. And I see my colleagues do that. That's just something I've never been in. I'm not into panic and freaking out. I'm into humor and laughing and enjoying ourselves and being honest with one another. I hope we can do that. Then there's the other question about Trump. What's he going to do? Is he going to do something which the Democrats are begging him to do? I saw somebody today, I think they were on Bloomberg, said from the University of Virginia, the guy that heads up the political department there, essentially saying, hey, you know what? If he wants to do this, the Democrats will help him.
I hope President Trump understands that his legacy and his best future lies with the Republican Party. I hope people in our party understand the party itself. If you're wanting to erase Donald Trump from the party, you're going to get erased. Most Republicans like his policies. A lot of people are disappointed with him personally at times, but appreciate the outcomes he's achieved for our country. But this idea of moving forward without Donald Trump in the Republican Party is a disaster for the Republican Party.
And that is the fear, that he's going to start the Patriots Party. What would that do?
The one way Democrats can survive is for the Republican Party to crack up. The best way for the Republican Party to crack up is try to move forward without Donald Trump.
And they've got to figure out how do they do that. And then that's been Mitch McConnell and a lot of other Republicans. I mean, their dream would be he just quietly hangs out at Mar-a-Lago, maybe goes to a few other countries, hits some golf balls, and that's it. That would be their dream. That would be, and doesn't say anything untoward, doesn't get involved too much in politics, doesn't, but if he was to start a party, I don't know how big it would be. I don't. I mean, yeah, does he have a base? But when you can't reach your base, you can't talk to your base, you in the way that you're used to, which is second by second, making it easy. That is that's tough to build that up. And at that point in time, what kind of strength is he going to have? But if they were to fracture, then the Democrats would dominate. That's why, they'll probably do anything they could. You want us to register your domain? We'll help you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. I'm just bummed about the aliens. I was really hoping. But they must, be honest, they from what we're hearing from that guy in Israel, that they really basically said, hey, dude, you, President, you can't say a word. You need to shush. You can't say a word about us. Or else. We're just letting you know. No. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. Offering discounts that are big, all kinds of benefits to their members that are amazing. Whether it is, we're talking about credit cards, help with senior living, phone services, things of that nature, dental care, and Medicare insurance plans, helping with prescription drugs, all of those things, and auto and home insurance, plus great things like retail, restaurant, hotel discounts. And to take it a step further, they help you as well. Help personalize getting you through things like Medicare and Social Security, making sure you're doing the right things, taking them when you need them, giving you the kind of advice that you need to make the right decisions. Join today. It's pennies a day to join. I'm talking pennies a day to join. And in doing so, you get to enjoy all these great benefits. Simple and easy. amac.us/Chad. $16 a year. That's it. amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
It's actually been nearly, to the day, it's been nearly 30 years since we did The Silence of the Lambs.
30 years ago, on January 30th to be exact, that starred Jodie Foster talking to co-star Anthony Hopkins, reminiscing about the classic horror movie, though Hopkins recalls he wasn't quite sure what it was when his agent first sent him the script.
He said, it's called Silence of the Lambs. I said, was it a children's story? He said, no.
No, it wasn't a children's story, and it was awesome, right? And they've got Clarice is coming out on CBS. Hello, Clarice. And that's going to be kind of like, I think it's some sort of prequel-ish thing, but it is still an amazing movie, but it also is one of those things where like, oh my God, that was 30 years ago? It was awesome. It was incredible, but it just makes you think, man, that's 30 years. Hello, Clarice. They have the sequels, which I enjoyed because he was an interesting character, right? And then you've had the prequel, and you've had some other stuff, but that was a hell of a movie, and it really, for so many people, introduced us to Sir Anthony Hopkins in a way that was mass appeal. People who understood movies or watched movies or into, like, really, you knew who he was, but that gave him the commercial appeal that was incredible. And that movie was, right? Because you're thinking to yourself, because it had a touch of everything. Had a little bit of Ed Gein. If you guys don't know who Ed Gein was, he was, so much of what serial killers and movies are based off is Ed Gein, from, was it Plainsville, Illinois or Wisconsin or wherever he was, and he just kept his mother's body and killed women and bigger women so he could make lampshades and ate. So it was just, he was a hot mess, but he wasn't brilliant. So it worked a bunch of different things in there, but Anthony Hopkins was brilliant in that movie. And so was Jodie Foster, being understated and yet being the hero, which was great. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet and text at me. Love hearing from you. Every once in a while, you just need to go to a hotline and just scream.
We have a new outlet for our frustration, as easy as picking up the phone. Just Scream is a hotline created by an elementary school teacher. You can call the number, just scream your head off for as long and loudly as you want. There's nobody on the other end, and numbers are not saved. The calls are recorded, put on a website, which currently has a backlog of more than 40,000 screams.
It's fun. It's like getting it out, right? Just screaming and yelling. And it's not even that. People say all kinds of wacky stuff.
Ow, ow. Ah! Oh no, I got pregnant again. My life is meaningless. Ah! Meow. Singer in a smoky room.
Please, I'm not in the mood for this.
Rah, rah, rah,
Oh, this is so stupid. I don't know whoever thought of this.
Every once in a while, it is just fun to let it all out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump. Please, I hope you have a plan. God, please save us. Save us from the devil, please. Y'all, I'm about to have a panic attack. This is our country. This is awful. God, please save us. Please. Please save us.
I want that to be my ringtone. Chad, I thought it was a joke. I thought there's nobody. That's a fake. That's a fake. That's fake. No, that was really somebody who had lost the plot. Reading some of the stuff that people were struggling with, waiting for Trump to materialize somewhere and have everybody arrested and all of this. It just never, ever came. And people started to realize, oh, my God, He lied to us. Oh, my God. It's over. It's done. There is no fixing this. There's not, none of this is going to happen. We're not playing the 4D chess that everybody thought everybody was. It's not going to happen. No. It's over. Trump's gone. Not a lot you could say. On to the next. Joe Biden. What's that look like in the coming weeks, months, and years? Well, first things first, he's got to take on the coronavirus. Trump got us to a point where we had the vaccine. But outside of that, he flirted with it at times, but mostly ignored it and really didn't set this amazing groundwork that I think a lot of people wanted there to be. Left it up to the states, and the states failed as well. So it's not just Trump, but the mess is now Biden's, and he's got to take that on. That's going to be his most important thing. Because if we can get out of this, the faster we get out of this crap, the faster that we get out of all of this stuff, the easier it's going to be to get ourselves rocking and rolling and moving forward.
The flurry of executive actions is going to continue. You will likely see more directed squarely at this issue of the pandemic and how to tackle it. So you're going to see him sign additional executive actions to try and reopen schools safely to mitigate the spread of the virus. And then, of course, there is that massive nearly $2 trillion stimulus package that they are asking Congress to work on. It would provide $1,400 in direct payments to most Americans, $130 billion to reopen schools, $160 billion for vaccinations and testing.
All things needed. But that's if the amount of money that they want to spend could even get to the point where they say, hey, yeah, let's do this because there's a lot of money.
That nearly $2 trillion price tag is going to be hard for a lot of Republicans to swallow, and it will test Joe Biden's promise that he can work across the aisle.
17 freshman House members on the Republican side have sent a letter to President Biden to say, yeah, let's work together. That's big. It's that first step of things that we need to do, which is working together. Oh, we can't work together. We can work together. I've never understood there's no way we can work together. It's like right Twix and left Twix. That's what I feel so much of politics is now. Right Twix, left Twix. At the end of the day, kind of, it's just a Twix. That's what it is. And I like Twix. There's a lot to get done. Vaccines are one. Also, I think, and he said he's going to be transparent, right? They held their first news briefing / love affair last night with Jen Psaki, who I thought did a fine job. But obviously it's far less cantankerous and there's not a lot of craziness and fighting going on, but wanted to talk about the truth side of things.
I have deep respect for the role of a free and independent press in our democracy and for the role all of you play. There will be moments when we disagree, but we have a common goal, which is sharing accurate information with the American people. If the president were standing here with me today, he would say he works for the American people. I work for him, so I also work for the American people. But his objective and his commitment is to bring transparency and truth back to government, to share the truth even when it's hard to hear.
And that right there needs to be the number one thing. Share the truth even when it's hard to hear. Well, part of the problem that is tough for people to take anymore is they want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear what they need to hear. And part of this truth going forward when it comes to coronavirus is we need to see, how does this thing really break down? There are people out there on the left and the right that dispute each other's things, but if you're on the right and you dispute it, and it shouldn't be right or left, it's just this science says something different than this one, but this one over here is the one that's been running the entire program and creating the narrative for this thing. We need to hear from all sides. No, people on the right, it ain't like the flu. It isn't. People on the left, it isn't the Ebola virus. So where is it in the middle? It's in the middle. Yeah, it's easier to catch. It's a little bit deadlier than the flu, but as I try to explain to people, the net it cast is far larger than the flu. So even if it was half deadly as the flu, but it was 5 times, 10 times as far as the people who come down to it get sick because of it, it's still going to outdo the flu in the numbers. And what it does to people who have comorbidities is awful. But we can't have a world of the panic and the insanity. That can't happen. So we all need to be straightforward. And we need to be honest, too, about a time and a date that we're going to get through this thing, as far as we're going to have to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. I've been saying that for a long time. It's endemic, not pandemic. Endemic means it's probably just going to be here. Over time, most of us may catch it. And eventually, slowly but surely, it'll weaken itself to the point where it will become a non-factor. But now we need to face the fact that it's affecting our economy. It's affecting the way to the point where recession, I don't even know what to call this thing. At this point, it's just kind of a meandering, trying to figure out what is happening. And when you look at the job numbers,
the Labor Department said another 900,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. It's slightly below what economists were expecting, but still high, underscoring the challenge the new administration faces as it seeks to control the pandemic and restore economic prosperity. More than 5 million Americans are continuing to receive state jobless benefits.
So that's your first thing. And part of that is being transparent. The feds, with Trump in charge, didn't handle this thing great. A lot of that comes from the top down. Trump was writing a lot of things. We've allowed this thing to become as bad, if not worse in some places, than the actual disease itself. He was wrong in saying it's just going to go away, or though states, you failed at times as well. Some of you overdid it, and it didn't help. Some of you underdid it, and surprisingly enough, you got through it. Even though you were affected by it, nowhere near the way that other states were. But you've also seen your jobless rates go through the roof. You've exhausted all of your rainy day funds, and you're broke. And you're looking for the feds going, bail us out. Let's be transparent. And part of that is going to be, here's the truth you guys need to hear, which is the truth. Come July 1st or July 4th, how about that one? We'll have fun with that one. Come July 4th, we're reopened. It's up to your states to get you to that point. Come July 4th, we're moving on. These are the things that he needs to do. Your first 100 days, everybody's looking at you to try to get this thing back on track and under control. And you also have to be honest. It's up to us, too. Personal responsibility. And no matter how good you are, you may catch it. And there will be people out there that flaunt it and don't really care, and they won't catch it. So this is it. His first 100 days. For all the other stuff that people will talk about, to me, I look at this. Because as this goes, so goes kids going back to school, which is a huge starter for this. So goes jobs reopening and getting back out there and not having to depend on the government. So goes us getting back to a normal way of life, which puts us on solid footing as we rebuild this thing back up, and then we can fight about the other crap. This is number one. Because I do not know somebody. I don't have anybody that's not been affected by this. I mean, there's a few out there, and by the way, not everybody's been affected the same. My on-air partner for my local show, his mom died from it. Me, I've had it. Didn't know I had it. My family's had it. Some got really sick. But most of us didn't know. I've had friends whose kids have had it. One of them, he is the epitome of health, and he was on a ventilator. So it affects people in different ways. But you know what? All of them are affected by the jobs, the loss of jobs, the slowdown of money. So we get this done, we move forward, and we can fight about all the other crap that we fight about. Like why I didn't win Powerball, which is the most important thing. Thank God I'm winning mega millions tomorrow night. Otherwise, I'd be really upset. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Raycon, best earbuds around. By the way, when I win tomorrow night, I'm going to buy all of you guys some Raycons. All of you guys some Raycons. So be prepared to be excited. Just want to let you guys know that. And by all of you, I mean, a few of you. Because I don't know all of you. But they're amazing. Sound quality, second to none. I'm going to go golfing in a little bit, go hit some golf balls in between all my shows. Let me tell you something. My Raycons go on, away I go. And I love them. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, better sound quality design, no stems, no wires. And yes, the sound quality is only enhanced to the point where when you put these things on and you feel them in your ears, you're like, whoa, it's the fit. I'm telling you, it's the fit. No wires, no stems, no fiddling with them, pushing them back in all the time. No. Stylish, cool, comfortable, and well under $100. Half to a third cheaper than any of those other ones out there. Get yours now. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. What's that do for you? Saves you 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The hashtag MyVP looks like me was trending on social media. Second gentleman Doug Emhoff says he wants to raise his kids in a world where it is not news that a spouse of any gender would support their partner.
Everybody's like, look, I'm stoked that we've got a woman VP, and maybe I'm weird. I just don't look at things like that. My whole thought, like somebody's like, oh, one of the people that's going to be part of the Health and Human Services is transgender. And people are like, we should celebrate that. I'm like, are they capable? Well, what do you mean? Are they capable? I mean, she's a doctor, but there's a lot of questions in Pennsylvania about some of the things questionably that she's done, including while at the height of everything, pulling her mom out of somewhere, and because she didn't feel it was safe of a nursing home, but not telling anybody that they should be looking to do potentially the same, all the while allowing new people to come in there and maintaining, it's totally fine. So, I mean, my whole thing is I don't care what your color is, what you identify as. And this goes back to, we want to live in a world supposedly where we're all colorblind. Well, that's not going to happen. That's like saying we all want to, everybody, we should all look at each other like we're all, we all want to live in a world where everybody's a 10. That's not it. Everybody's different. And that's fine. The most important thing is are you capable of doing the job? I don't care how you come across on the intersectionality chart that makes people out there who are woke feel better. At the end of the day, can you do the job? If you can, great. If you can't, sorry. But no. What if they were all transgender? Can they all do the job? Well, yeah. Well, then there you go. I don't care. Is the job getting done? To me, it's never been an issue. It's like, I just want the job done. It's like people scream, we want smaller government. Smaller government sounds great. You know what I want? Capable government. You could have incompetent, smaller government, and you could potentially have capable, larger government. Right now, we're kind of in the middle. Bit larger, little bit capable, a lot of bit incapable. I think we should look at the capabilities more so than anything else. But for a lot of people, it's checking boxes that matter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You don't say to a president, do whatever you want in the last months of your administration. You're going to get a get out of jail card free because people think we should make nice and forget that people died here on January 6th.
Nancy Pelosi already starting the healing. Look, there were some serious issues with Trump and a lot of people around there, and they need to look into all of that. What took place in the assault on our Capitol, and for some people, they had a plan. They thought they were going to do something. Through their actions, you can't call it anything other than that. They were insurgents. They were coming in bent on doing something. For some of the people who were there, they were just like, we were walking in, we were taking pictures. You're going to get charged. I mean, that's it. You're getting charged. You're getting charged with stuff. So, did his words on that day lead to something? I think there was a lot that led to it. Did he play a massive part in it? 100%. The bigger part that played up into that day took place from the night of the election all the way until that time. And the question is, as they go through the impeachment hearing, and it could start as early as they could get it as early as tomorrow. Now, remember, they sent it over from the House to the Senate. We remember last year, we watched it last year where they're walking over all solemnly through the halls and this is a moment. So I don't think it'll be that way this time. So I think at the end of the day, you got to have it. You've got to go through it. And the question is, how much time and effort are they going to put into it? Because it's one of those things. I said they're going to have to learn how to do a couple different things at once.
Because I think we can do both, confirm nominees and begin work on an agenda to conquer the pandemic, but also impose accountability for this incitement of riot.
And the big question is are the Republicans going to get on board? I don't know. I don't know. And this will also be a test for the Republican Party and the Trump followers, which that aren't always one and the same. And the worry that he's going to break off and start the Patriots Party or do something like that. I don't know, but this will definitely be a test to see exactly how much people are going to follow him, because a lot of people, after he left yesterday, took to their QAnon and their Telegraph and anywhere else and really kind of went after him because they felt they were sold a bill of goods, that he was some sort of savior and that he was going to pull something out of the fire when there was nothing to pull out of the fire. So I think they felt lied to and disillusioned about the whole thing. And many of them are like, no, the Oath Keepers, who are another one of those, right-wing groups who were a part of what took place. They're like, we're done with politics. Now they're moving into secession is their new thing, but they're done with both parties. And on the other side, you get the Proud Boys as well, also saying, they think he's just weak and he's a shill and he's part of the problem, and they're done with him too. It's a lot. So it'll be interesting to see what the appetite is too for the American people. Because, you know what? People say, well, how can we unite? First of all, we got to heal. And by healing, I mean there are people on both sides who are living in an angry world, who that their world is completely just absolutely have been overtaken by politics on both the left and the right and the extremes. Case in point, we saw what took place with that girl when Amy Coney Barrett got through, and she was freaking out in the car and about Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying and all of that. And you had this yesterday.
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump. Please, I hope you have a plan. God, please save us. Save us from the devil, please. Y'all are about to have a panic attack. This is our country. This is awful. God, please save us. Please. Please save us.
So you got to start your healing. And for some of these people, it's going to be tough because they felt lied to and they're disillusioned and they feel like everything's been taken away from them and the person they were looking up to. And I think in the other side, you've got people that are pissed and angry that Trump got away with this, and they want punishment, and they're obsessed with that. And we're going to have to learn, we're going to have to get over some things. We are. And the likes of Nancy Pelosi and many others are going to push hard for something that I'm not quite sure they're going to get.
The President of the United States committed an act of incitement of insurrection. I don't think it's very unifying to say, oh, let's just forget it and move on.
No, I think that you hold people accountable, which is absolutely something you should totally do, but you go through the process. If I'm Biden, if they impeach him, they go through with it, and they convict him in the Senate. So he's impeached now, and he goes through the Senate, the trial, and he's eventually convicted. The first thing I do is pardon him and say it's now over. Now it's time to heal. And we move on. Because we're moving, whether people like it or not. And they're worried about paychecks. They're worried about their kids getting back in school. They're worried about whether or not their businesses are going to survive. They're worried about the health of their family, both mentally as well as physically. They're worried about the day-to-day things. This will play itself out. And that's what Biden has to address now, which is COVID. How do we get through it? Where do we go? And how are we going to take the vaccine if indeed we want to do it? It's one of the things I don't ever hear being asked or answered. And it's simply this. Mr. President, Dr. Fauci, whoever it is, let's say for whatever reason. 10% aren't going to take this because they believe that you're going to change their DNA and sterilize women or make you forget God. That was one of the ones I saw. Or they're just the anti-vaxxers, the plague enthusiasts. And then there's going to be maybe 20% that are going to take it eventually, but they may not take it for a year because they want to see how this thing plays itself out. That would leave us in a position where maybe 60% of us would get the vaccine. And you keep saying we need 80 or 90%. Do we get to go forward, or are we going to live in this perpetual state of open, close, keep closed, partially open, partially closed? I want to hear what that question asked, and I want to hear it answered. Part of the transparency that he wants, let's hear it. Absolutely. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Unity, we shall see if there will be unity. We know exactly how the media is going to treat him. I don't care about any of that stuff. None of that matters. But there are questions going forward about things like the Paris Climate Accord.
And the first order I'm going to be signing here relates to COVID and requiring, as I said all along, mandating masks be worn and social distancing be kept on federal property. This is the first one I'm signing. The second one I'm signing here is the support for underserved communities. Third is the commitment I made that we're going to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord as of today.
So it's interesting. So you're going to rejoin it. How have we done? Remember, Trump yanked us out.
It was among the hottest years recorded.
The hottest year on record.
Global warming. What will we do about that? Politicians from most every country promised to deal with it by signing something called the Paris Climate Agreement.
A historic climate agreement in Paris.
But when President Trump took office, he said,
the United States will withdraw.
What? We will withdraw? We alone?
Yeah. Wait, we? What? Huh? How good was it? I mean, that's a question. I mean, we've reduced we're still a huge emitter. You know, of our carbon footprint's big. Let's be real about that. Our carbon footprint is big. But you have to ask yourself a lot of different things about how important it is. And that's the other thing. You know, a lot of what these things, these social issues, people want to sound like, you know, they care. But like everything else, it's like, how much you really care? Well, I care, but am I willing to sacrifice? Oh, that's a different story.
President Trump isolated the United States with his reckless and indefensible decision.
My neighbors in New York agree with that, and so do most of the media.
A lot at stake, potentially, for the planet.
Really? I bet they don't even know what was in the agreement.
Paris Accord was somewhere between a farce and a fraud.
Manhattan Institute senior fellow Orrin Cass.
You don't even have to mention greenhouse gases in your commitment if you don't want to. Everyone sent in a piece of paper, and they stapled it together and call that the Paris Accord.
Which is very true. It's about a look. And I think we often, you know, it's like people who go and post stuff on the internet about this or you know, all kinds of, it's about, do I look good? We talked the other day about race in this country and how the millennials really aren't as you know, colorblind as they want everybody. And it's not that I think they're racist. I think so much of what we do now is more for show. Like, do I look like I care about the environment or care about the LGBT community or care about this? Because if I look like I care, the reality is that that's all I need to do, because everything we do is so superficial anyways. And this was another one of those things where everybody pats themselves on the back, but does it achieve the things that they really want everybody to achieve? That they tell us that we've got, you know, now what, 11 years, 10 years until we're past that part of no return, which, you know, is a bunch of crap. You know it and I know it.
So what's in the commitments that every country made?
India has ratified the Paris Climate Accord.
What you find is they either pledge to do exactly what they were already going to do anyway, or pledged even less than that.
China has made a major commitment.
China, for instance, said we pledge to reach peak emissions by about 2030. Well, the United States government had already done a study to guess when Chinese emissions would peak, and their guess was about 2030.
Oh, so you're going and doing stuff. And I'm not saying that, and this is where you can't even have a conversation, but we need to take better care of our world and our climate, but we also need to start doing stuff that's real. Having conversations like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I want to get cleaner energy. At the same time, let's also understand that as we develop some of these things, some other things that we are going to need to continue to move forward.
India made no pledge to limit their emissions at all. They pledged only to become more efficient, but they proposed to become efficient less quickly than they're already becoming more efficient. My favorite was Pakistan, whose pledge was to reach a peak at some point, after which to begin reducing emissions. And if anything, you've gone backwards, because whereas in the past you could have criticized countries and said, hey, why aren't you doing anything? Now we have an agreement that says, in fact, we will applaud you for doing nothing.
Yeah. And that's the insanity. It's about the look. Obama got a ton out of it. It makes people feel good because we all want clean water, clean air, and all of those things. And for some, it's great for the money. See Al Gore. But at the end of the day, for so many people, it's do I look good doing it? Because if I look good, even if I don't believe in it, but if I oversell it, hey, that's great because I look good doing it. And that makes everybody else think I'm a good person. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, ExpressVPN, telling you guys right now, super, super cheap. How cheap? To protect yourself, to get yourself away, to make sure when you're scrolling the internet, you're doing your thing, that you're anonymized, that no, hey, you know what? People aren't looking at you. Your data is not being sold. It's making it harder to trace you. ExpressVPN is what it's all about. Two I trust. So easy to use. One tap. One little tap on the button with the app. Boom. Away you go. Your phone, your computer, you're protected. 22 cents a day. Boom. That's it. Take back your online privacy with the VPN I trust at expressvpn.com/Benson. You're going to protect your data. It encrypts 100% of your data, protect you from eavesdroppers, and it makes it harder to track your data to sell to advertisers. By visiting the link, guess what? Extra 3 months with ExpressVPN services on a 1-year package. So cheap. 22 cents a day. ExpressVPN.com/Benson. ExpressVPN.com/Benson to protect your data today. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverence? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
We have another life-changing jackpot for you. It's worth an estimated $731.1 million.
I didn't win. I didn't.
It's time to play America's favorite jackpot.
It's not anymore because I didn't win. Somebody did, though. One ticket. Maryland. We worked it out. $322 million if they take the lump sum after taxes, which is $546 million. If you add in the federal taxes and the state taxes, that's a win right there, kids. That's a win. That's a good day for somebody. Somebody was happy yesterday. The whole America was happy. It's funny. But Powerball, I was like, which one do I want to win? And it was Powerball, but Mega Millions, it's kind of my jam, and that's tomorrow. And that's $970. $970 million will change your life. I was laughing yesterday. I'm like, wouldn't it be hilarious if Trump won it? Come on, you'd be like, oh my God. 970 tomorrow. That is insane. And if that doesn't play out, nobody wins. We're talking over $1 billion. What? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet, text. You guys have a blessed, wonderful day. Oh, my goodness. Thank God. I see Friday. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.